Hi everybody. Today we are going to talk about engagements because, no lie, my Facebook feed has been blowing up with people being engaged. And these aren't even like people that I personally know. They're like a friend of a friend of a friend, and like I'll just see like so and so like that Molly so and so and David whatsoever like are engaged. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of people. And just to like tell you like why I think this is such a important thing to talk about right now, no lie, one day over 20 engagements announced, and I was like, that's crazy. And it's not even, it was like overlap, like I was getting the groom or and the bride, like I wasn't getting overlap. They were totally completely different people. So when I see all these engagements, it makes me think of like my story as far as marital bliss goes. And I always like to offer young people, young couples, this advice when asked. Obviously I don't just give it, so for me, the most important thing that you need to think about when you're planning your wedding is the photographer. Like, spend your money on the pictures. Trust me. You can make do without a limo. You can make do without a DJ. Like, you can survive those other things. But like, the photos are so important because someday when you're senile and you can't even remember who your spouse is, there's going to be these photos there to maybe they can help jog your memory, or they can just be a lasting legacy for your children. So it's really, or family, so it's really spend the money on the photographer. Another thing I would say is like, have the wedding you want. Like, if you don't want kids, don't have kids. Adults only, that's fine. It's your wedding, who cares? If your family doesn't get along, then just say sit wherever you want to sit. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to a couple of weddings where we had to, you didn't have to pick a side. They were just saying that there was like a cute rhyme about how like at the end of this we're all family anyway, and so people were able to sit wherever they wanted. So that was nice. So like if you happen to be in a family where like moms and dads are now split, can't even be in the same room as each other, it'd be nice if they could just sit wherever they wanted and then have assigned seating. So really make your wedding your own. Don't worry about like making other people happy or anything like that. Just do what feels right to you and your spouse. So we got photographer, spend money on your photographer, do what you want, have the wedding you want. And then this last bit of advice is for people who don't currently already have children, together or separately. So this is like for a young couple or maybe even an older couple who doesn't have children yet. And that would be, wait to have kids. Like, just wait, even if it's just a year, just wait to have kids. Like, spend some time as a couple, just like making memories of like just being a husband and wife. Like for me specifically, I met my husband when I was in college. So I did, he proposed to me my junior year. I said yes, obviously. Finished, so we spent 3 years dating, 1 year being engaged, and then, that following fall, after I graduated from college, we got married. And so we were married in 2006, and our daughter wasn't born until 2010. So we had 4 years of just being a couple. And that was really nice because we have all of these like sweet memories of just when it was just us. And that's really good too, because I mean, for most people, it's the first time you've ever been a wife or you've ever been a husband and you don't really know how to behave or what's appropriate, or you're not used to being just a me anymore. Now you're a we, right? Because you have a spouse and you should probably take the other person into consideration. So it's a lot easier to do that without children. And I know for a fact, unequivocally, hands down, that is the reason why my husband and I have such a great relationship, is because we really spent a lot of time getting to know each other and just being honest about who we were with one another and accepting of one another. When our first child was born, things did not go according to plan. And I remember laying in the hospital bed, and there was a neonatologist sitting across the room from me, and he's looking at my husband and I, and he's explaining to us like, you're definitely going home without your baby, and, she might have brain damage, she might have this, she might have that, we got to do all this testing. And I remember he walked out of the room and I looked at my husband, and the only thing I could do to stop myself from just completely going absolutely insane was to look at him and say, like, God, I'd really hate to be us right now. And we both burst into, hysterics laughing at it. But then eventually the tears came. But there are times now when, things are going horribly awry, and we just kind of stop and look at each other and we're like, God, I'd hate to be us right now. And it really is, we have that bond. We spent that time getting to know each other, and we spent that time learning to love each other as a husband and a wife. And when I saw my husband become a father, I loved him more, but now in a different way, because I could see him as a father and see that nurturing side of him. But I still have memories of him being just a husband to me, and those are still really, really strong. And so I would say to young couples, and some of them, I know they feel pressure because, like, everyone in their family has kids, and, like, they feel like they're getting older, but honestly, like, give yourself time to be a couple. Take road trips, just be a couple, be that fun aunt and uncle for a while, because it's really going to help you to decide, like, what kind of parents do we want to be. And ultimately, like, you owe it to yourselves. You owe it to yourselves to have some time together, like, making fun memories. And, and that way, like, maybe you don't meet the right person. Then if it doesn't work out, like, well, at least you don't have to worry about splitting kids, right? We don't have to, try to make that work. And yes, I know it can work. And I come from a family that's divorced. And my husband comes from a family that's divorced. But I can honestly say, like, as an adult, it's so difficult around the holidays to deal, like, who we're going to see here and who we're going to see there. And it's so hard to just manage. And like, kids think it's great because they get a ton of presents or whatever. But, like, for adults, it's very difficult. And I just know that, like, as my children get older, thankfully they won't have to worry about this, because my husband and I are very, very much in love, and we wouldn't want to do that to our children. We wouldn't want them to have to go through that. And so when you're planning your nuptials, I know you think it's really important, about getting the right venue or getting the right this or getting the right that. The thing that is most important is that you truly love one another, and just really keep that in mind, that you're building a future together. You're now, co-owners of this business venture, and you just really want to make sure that, you're giving it its best shot. And, before you go adding in more partners via children, really make sure that, like, you have a strong foundation of what it is you guys want to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, that's going to help you. You can still just kind of transition from being a single person to now being married to, being a parent. And yet, like, I know some people like, well, we dated for years. Well, being someone's girlfriend and being someone's wife are really different. And if it doesn't seem different, then there's probably an issue. It should seem a little different. You're making a legal obligation to somebody, but you're also, if you're a person of faith and you do this in a church, you're making a promise in front of God and everybody else. So, unless that doesn't mean much to you, in which case, why go through the formality? So just make sure that, like, when you're planning your wedding, obviously make sure you're listening to yourself and your conscience and doing what you know is right. If you can wait to have kids, I would really, really suggest it, because honestly, when you do finally have children, it'll be such, like, a joyous thing for you because of the longing to have a family together. Have the wedding you want. If you want a photo booth, if you just want to have an iPod plugged in, if you want to have your cousin Sal playing the banjo, then do that, because that's your wedding and it's your choice. And then finally, when it does come to budgets and spending money, spend a big chunk on photographers, because that is what you want to have, is the memories captured forever. Those photos are really going to help you, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens at your wedding you don't even see. So having a great photographer, especially one that has, like, a pair where they go around shooting, is awesome. There's so many different photographers out there. I actually know quite a few, so if you want any of their information, feel free to comment below and I will leave that for you. So once again, with everybody getting engaged, I'd just like to say from the bottom of my heart, congratulations, because I love love. But if nothing else from this post, I just want you to know that You owe it to yourself to be authentic and genuine. And you also owe it to your spouse to spend time together, getting to know each other, and really build a strong foundation of love before you start a family. And, just by simply being there for each other and waiting to have children is probably going to be one of the best decisions you make. I know for my husband and I, we waited several years, and I'm so glad that we did. There's some couples who start off with children, so if you have a choice, I know things don't always work according to plan, but if you can, be patient, because I promise you, anything that is worth having is worth waiting for. So once again, congratulations to all the newly engaged people. Don't be afraid to try on a white dress. I thought it wouldn't look good with my complexion. Looked bomb. So try on anything and everything, and have a great wedding, and spend money on the photographer. You won't regret it.